Hello, Shadwell here, ready to talk about the next film in my collection, Apocalypse Now Final Cut. The original movie is from 1979 and the Final Cut version was released in 2019. It is directed by Francis Ford Coppola and stars Martin Sheen and Marlon Brando. There are technically 4 different versions of Apocalypse Now, and I only say technically because one of them is a glorified bootleg that floats around. There's the theatrical cut, which is the shortest, the first assembly cut, which is the glorified bootleg and is by far the longest, and then there's Redux and then Final Cut. And although the 3 regular versions of Apocalypse Now are good, it's often thought the theatrical cut is the best. So why did we watch the Final Cut version, which is about 3 hours long, resting at about the halfway point runtime-wise between the theatrical cut and Redux? Well, partially for that reason I just mentioned, partially because Francis Ford Coppola currently states that he likes the Final Cut best, but mostly because it is the only cut of the film in this collection that is available in 4K with Dolby Atmos sound and Dolby Vision picture. And trust me when I say it looks and sounds amazeballs. I have a funny history with this movie. For the longest time I would put it on if I wanted to fall asleep, much like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It never failed. I'd get about 30 minutes in and I was out. And then, it must have been 2018, I actually stayed up through the whole thing and ended up actually liking it. So when a cut of it came out on 4K, I snatched it up. I don't love the movie, but I like it enough. I'm more fascinated with all the stuff that went on behind the scenes, like Francis Ford Coppola's nervous breakdown, Martin Sheen had a near-fatal heart attack, Marlon Brando went all Marlon Brando on everyone, and it took over a year to shoot and nearly 4 years before it was released. And those are just the highlights. There is an excellent documentary on the making of Apocalypse Now called Hearts of Darkness, a play on the title Heart of Darkness, which was the book by Joseph Conrad that Apocalypse Now was a modern retelling of, more or less. Unfortunately, my memory is so bad I can't remember anything substantial about the book other than the author, even though I've read it twice. Once for pleasure in my youth, and once for a college class. Anyway, the movie is decent, but the real meat is the behind-the-scenes shit, which I didn't even get a chance to talk about. I give Final Cut a B+, and mostly for the 4K transfer, it is gorgeous. Come back tomorrow when I talk about the documentary Apollo 11. See y'all then.